Welcome to the Furlough Capital Real Estate Podcast, where we dive into the intricacies of passive real estate investing. And our mission is to equip people to invest wisely in both properties and people so that together we can build wealth while improving housing. I'm James, and this is my wife, Jessi.
I really love the trend right now. Actually, I don't know if it's trendy. I'm not very trendy.
I'll let you know.
Of like these sweaters that are like blankets. I'm wearing one right now because it's so cold.
Are those Snuggies? Is that the same thing?
I mean, it's kind of Snuggie-esque.
Okay, that's pretty comfortable.
Oh, it's so comfortable.
Nice.
And it's like a poncho sweater thing.
It's a poncho.
I mean, really, it's a wearable blanket.
Okay, all right.
But I'm like, yes.
And you think that's a trend now?
I'm in. I'm making it trendy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a friend gave this to me, and so
yeah,
it's gotta be
in cool.
somewhere,
cool.
I guess.
All right.
I mean, there's other like sweaters and things that are like big and jacket-esque.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's a typical characteristic of a sweater.
No, well, I mean, like bigger, like blanket, even like blanket status.
Okay. All right.
Anyways,
Interesting.
just loving it. I feel cozy right
Cool.
now,
That's
wearing
good.
my blanket.
Because it's wintertime and it's cold. So
All right, my hands were like chapping.
Oh my gosh,
I had
man,
to put some lotion on.
that's rough,
It was rough.
but that's okay. I have no transition for that. Okay. How about this one? For me, talking about finances is like putting on a cozy blanket.
Oh,
It feels so comfortable. It's so awesome.
is that true?
I love doing it. And part of that process
I think that is
is reading books about finances. And I recently just finished one, and I wanted to share a concept from it with you.
perfect.
It's called Money for Couples. Mm-hmm. No more stress, no more fights, just a 10-step plan to create your rich life. I feel like I want the rest of this title. Rich Life Together. There you go. It's by Ramit Sethi, and he's a personal finance guy, business coach. That's not the right word. Like he does business classes,
Yeah,
online classes.
Teacher,
for teaching
educator.
business. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. His website is iwillteachyoutoberich.com or IWT for short. I read his first book, read his second book. Now I read his third book.
All right.
I've taken some of his online classes. I like the way he sees the world in a good way, it is a good way, but he sees it differently than I do, I guess.
Yeah.
And I like it when he can pull out conclusions and see things that I'm like, I wouldn't have seen that myself.
Yeah. I don't know if this book has this same principles or things that he usually talks about, but one of the things that like has stood out to me over and over again in the things that he teaches is like, hopefully this is the guy. I think it's the guy. It's
I'll let you know.
it's like in certain areas, like spend, like put money towards the things that you want to put money towards, and in other areas be brutally like stringent and cut back. But you don't have to do that everywhere. You know, it's like make those decisions and invest in what you love to do, and don't invest in what you don't love to do.
Yeah, no, he talks about this in previous books, and this one he's labeled it. He now calls it money dials. It's a newish term.
All right.
When he originally wrote his book, he didn't call it that.
Right.
But that's that idea. Yeah.
Money dials.
Things that you love, spend extravagantly on it, or for your budget, whatever that means.
Sure.
Right. Obviously don't go in debt to do it.
Right.
But then he goes, for things that you don't love, cut them mercilessly. Just be ruthless about it. And then you can take the funds that you were spending there and transition it into things that you love. And I think that's good. Like for us, cars, not that big of a deal.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so we don't spend very much on vehicles at all.
Yeah, we buy used, super used.
Yeah,
and
like our van, we spent $4,500 on it. And
yeah, but they're great, and they
there's
get us
got
around. And,
paint chipping and all sorts of stuff.
oh, yeah. But
which
I mean,
makes it easy to find a parking lot, which is nice.
yeah. But travel,
But
like,
travel's a thing.
we love to travel,
Tech
so
stuff, like my phone.
Sure.
I buy a nice phone, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
yeah.
And so that's yes. That's
Clothing
the
is
gag.
another one that we don't spend a lot on. Because it's like, I like to thrift.
Yes,
We wear things for many, many years. And it's like, I'm okay with that.
I think
Don't have to be
no,
name brand.
this shirt's after college, but it's
This was
pretty
a
close.
gift. hand-me-down thrifted.
There you go. Boom.
Okay, my socks weren't new, but like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Yeah, so they're less new now. I like it. So one of the things that he talks about in his book are the 4 money types. And these are like personality types of people. And I just thought it'd be interesting for people to hear about, so they can.
I love these types of things because you like, it's like a personality quiz or whatever. Where you're like, ooh, which one am I?
Which one am I? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which one you think that I am. I have my own guess, and I thought he starts it off with this. He goes, people like to say, like, oh, personal finance is personal. He's like, nope, I prefer a different saying. Most of us are mostly the same. And so he goes, that is, most of us want to be able to spend on the things we love and know that we have enough. Most of us want money to be less of a source of stress in our relationship.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he's going through. And so he's talking about the psychology of money in this particular chapter. And again, he goes in like, hey, there's these 4 money types of people.
Okay.
Which one are you? And then he kind of has advice for if you are that person, how to overcome it. And then if you're that spouse, here's how to deal with that / encourage that kind of person.
As a preface, does he think that certain of these money types are negative and certain are positive?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's negatives and positive, but negative, yes and yes.
For each one, there's
Correct.
like pluses and minuses.
Yeah, it's not you want to be this one.
Sure.
It's just more of like, here's where you naturally, and I think for all of them, right, you can have, they're good and bad. It's all a question of degrees, and you can have good tendencies, bad tendencies that you lean into.
Okay.
The first one, the name implies something. It's called the avoider. The avoider uses a variety of conscious and unconscious strategies to deflect and procrastinate when it comes to money. Sometimes they know exactly what they're doing. Oftentimes, they're genuinely oblivious to the motivation behind their tactics. Deep down, they're afraid of confronting the reality of their situation. That fear may come from ignorance. I should already know about money. From a sense that it's too late, I'm 50 and I haven't even started saving. From embarrassment, I don't want to look stupid in front of my partner, kids, friends. Or from a general sense that if they find out the truth, they just might be as bad as they imagine. And so common behaviors, dodging conversations, not opening mail, which I'll admit I've gone through those. So I'm like, I don't want to open the mail. Refusing to look at online accounts or automatic payments, ignoring parking tickets, playing innocent, reframing avoidance as a virtue. Money just isn't that important to me. And overspending.
Interesting.
So things they might say is like, you're just so much better at money. I'm not good at math. Things like that. Fine, we can talk about our bills, but first, why did you spend so much last weekend? I thought I told you. And then, not this again. Let's talk about it next week. I'm tired from work. So yeah, I don't think either of us are avoiders.
I don't think so. Well, like you said, there's phases that we kind of go through where it's like, this particular financial thing is annoying or frustrating or...
Yeah, and you might procrastinate on doing whatever needs to do, which is a form of avoidance. But yeah, and I could see where you could have a thing where you got one person who's like, hey, real estate's awesome. I want to invest in it. I want to keep going. I want to grow our portfolio. And potentially married to a spouse who's like, I don't even want to deal with this. That's your thing. I don't want to deal with it. So he has advice. The best way to reach an avoider is to show them what their beliefs are costing them, including how their avoidance is hurting their family and what they're missing out on. Because they are missing out on, like, that's an important part of life, is the investing, just the finances in general. And
so what are some of the benefits? Like for an avoider, I mean, they're avoiding things because they don't see the benefits of like keeping on top of tracking or like knowing what investments are out there.
I think they're on the right track in the sense that like money isn't the be all end all of your life. You shouldn't just be totally engrossed by it.
Okay.
So in that sense, they're right, but it's been taken to an extreme. Is that? I think like because you were kind of looking for like what's the positive side of that?
Yeah. Well, no, like what's the positive? What do you tell them? To get them interested in finances if they're just like, nah, not worth my time. You're better at it.
All right, here we go. His advice is you should ask them, what do you get out of being an avoider? And maybe you use a different word for it. He goes, the most common response is, I get to ignore my money so I don't feel bad. And then you go, okay, well, what if you keep denying? What if you could become good with money. What would you tell your kids to avoid? Would you tell your kids to avoid something important because it makes them feel bad? Yeah.
Now that's a good one to me.
And then the other one is try to get them to play out in the future. Hey, in 10 years, if you continue avoiding, where will we be?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Other stuff too is he'll be like, help them focus on the positive sides of it, right? It's not just paying bills and having low on money, but like help create a shared vision for where you want to go in the future. Why are you doing this investing? Why are we spending this way? And if you can get them excited about that part, once you have that strong vision, that strong why, then you can go like, okay, now let's put in some of the work to pay the bills, to figure out the tracking so that vision can come true.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's baby steps, man. Like you're not going to see a change.
Yeah.
In like a week or probably even 6 months. It's like, yeah, you just kind of.
I would imagine some avoiders become avoiders because they have bad experiences with money, or they don't manage it well, and so then they're like, I didn't do that right. I'm giving up.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it.
I can see that.
Yeah,
or a lot of it, like he was talking about in his book, like childhood expectations or experiences, kind of playing into it.
Yeah, what's modeled to you.
Yeah,
is often what you do.
He also recommended to give them some small responsibility, just kind of feel that out, and don't
do it all at once.
Well, don't do it all at once, but also don't take it back.
Okay.
Or if they don't do it, you go, yeah, man, like that's your responsibility. Walk them through it, teach them how to do it. Don't just let them hang them out to dry.
Which, understandably, like you're presenting this as like couples talking to each other. Like, understandably, that's difficult.
Oh, 100%.
For your spouse to be that person.
I'm just, yes, the way I'm saying it isn't how you present it. Right. I'm like, here's kind of where you want to get them to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 2. Number 2. Well, do you have a thought?
Well, I was just thinking it could be beneficial to have like a third party help you have some of those conversations. Because sometimes with your spouse, you're both too close to it and too invested, pun intended, in your finances and there's emotion there and other layers. So it's like sometimes maybe nice to have just someone else having those conversations or encouragements. Takes different steps.
All right, the optimizer. Optimizers are maniacally, yeah, that's the right word. Optimizers are maniacally focused on their numbers. They love rules and beating the system. They track everything and are usually quite skilled when it comes to day-to-day money management. But they live almost entirely for the future. They don't know how to use money to live a rich life now. And rich life, that's kind of that's his branding. Spending, like you were talking about earlier, on what you want. He says he has a soft spot for them. He goes, left alone, I would have a 32-part spreadsheet tracking my spending, favorite hotels, restaurants, daily blood pressure, favorite coffee beans, amount of sunlight every day, number of compliments I give my wife, hobbies, number of friends.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I may or may not be someone who tracks everything from like calories to macros to weight
to steps
to it's even more insane.
I mean, calendaring falls into that
tracking my
kind of stuff
my
too.
Sleeping, so temperature, blood pressure, all that. Yeah, I got it all. It's pretty crazy. He talks about common behaviors, maintaining 13 spreadsheets, reading 34 different FIRE forums, running yet another Monte Carlo analysis, which I talk about all the time.
Yes, you are this one.
Engaging in online debates about the pitfalls of the 4% rule and spending more time opening credit cards for free points than actually traveling.
It's not funny, but
it's a little harsh.
It is a little funny.
I like to think
you're
traveling.
I think
traveling,
you're
but
not
I definitely am down that like
quite that intense. Although, yes, you have many of those tendencies.
Favorite phrases: what if I don't account for all the variables? Have you read this new strategy for a backdoor Roth? I gave a presentation last year about that. Or how about this one? I paid for my flight to New York City with points. Yeah, it only involves signing up for 26 new credit cards and tracking every bonus award for 18 months. It's not funny.
It's not funny because you just. I think you actually almost said that. Not quite that exact, not the last part, but the other part. Like,
I was pumped.
We could totally pay for this with our points.
Oh, I was pumped that we flew to California totally for Frizzle. One card, that was it. It was good.
It wasn't 20.
Not a strategy behind it, but I got an optimizing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Here's this critique of optimizers, though. Optimizers are boring. Ask them what their hobbies are, and they'll say, well, I like to check my spreadsheet. Or someone like... And
we've had that conversation.
That's something you and I regularly talk about where I'm like, I don't know if I have any hobbies. And I ultimately was like, you know what? I'm a bookworm. I like to read.
Yeah, you do.
Now I read about finance.
You read about finance and tracking and,
and
optimizing.
That kind of stuff and real estate investing. So, I don't know.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I mean.
So his advice to me. Oh, here goes. What it's like being married to an optimizer, because optimizers focus relentlessly on numbers. They often become unbearably cheap.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
they just pay attention to it the whole time.
And that is something that I actively have to fight against.
Really?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, I
mask it by joking, where I go, oh, I just don't value my time, so I do the work. But at the end of the day, it's me being cheap and me admitting it without saying like I'm cheap.
Because you're like, I'm going to do this because I'm not going to hire somebody.
Correct. Yeah. I don't want to pay that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
They cleverly frame this as a virtue. I'm not like those superficial people. I don't say that. I don't need a glass of fancy wine. I'm perfectly happy with water, which I am perfectly happy with water. I genuinely think it tastes good. Though you and I have been getting into bubbly water, and I'm like, oh yeah,
we'll do bubbly water.
But we got a soda stream. But I'm an optimizer. Turns out that is 100% me.
Yeah.
So let's see here. His advice: just as you can develop a taste for new foods, you can develop a taste for spending money meaningfully. And you do that by hanging out with people who are a little more spontaneous, because money behavior is contagious.
Yeah.
He goes, you just become a miser, essentially, a Scrooge.
Well, I think we balance each other out a little bit, but also you have become more charactered in that area too.
Yeah.
More so like we were talking about, where there's certain things you're like, oh yeah, I'm totally willing to spend on this.
Right.
I have no qualms.
Yeah.
Yes. And then other areas that you're like,
we were talking about those money dials earlier. There are things that I am willing to spend lavishly on. It's a very small list.
Sure.
But when I do, we go all in.
Yeah.
Like vacationing is one. We don't do it very often, but like we don't go. I mean, we do a little bit of camping, but I'm like, no, we go to Spain. We go to Europe. Like we go all in, and that's okay. All right. Here's your advice for you to me. He goes, your partner, that's me, is always going to love the numbers. That's a skill that should be appreciated and praised, because mastering the numbers is a key part of a rich life. So you're welcome.
Good job loving the numbers.
On their skills, they'll love it.
You're a master spreadsheet maker.
So my guess is, if you're listening to this podcast, you're in an optimizer situation. So you just gotta be okay with that. And you gotta develop the ability to gently redirect them to other areas of a rich life. Like help them articulate how much is enough, ask them why, stuff like that. Which I get people who ask me that all the time.
We've had those conversations too.
Yeah. So it's good. That's the optimizer. The Worrier. Oh no, you're getting nervous. You're getting nervous.
Oh, I'm very nervous.
For the Worrier, money conversations are almost always negative. They worry about running out of money. They worry about how much they spend over the weekend. After a while, they worry about why they worry so much.
I have been there before.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like you're not quite that bad.
Not
common behaviors:
as
lying awake at night, playing out worst case scenarios.
Oh goodness, no.
Catastrophizing.
I
can't read.
Wow. That's a weird word. Catastrophizing. Catastrophizing. Anyways, worst case scenarioing.
Yeah, over small expenses, digging up old issues, logging into accounts daily. They don't automate their bills, so they have to sign in to pay each one.
Interesting.
My favorite phrase is just a what if. What if we both lose our jobs, or the market never bounces back, or our home loses value, or the sky falls?
Some of those.
You're not quite that extreme.
I'm not quite that extreme.
I am just as extreme as he described for the optimizers.
Oh, yes. Yes, you are.
But yeah, I think if of the two of us, you're more of a worrier. You'd label yourself a realist, but you maybe not necessarily about money, but about other stuff.
I do ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, which
not
I
necessarily
really
what if questions, but more like, how is this going to play out, or what would it look like if we change this or do this, or are there any other options for XYZ? So I think through things. I don't know if I would call it worry.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I think you're intentional and meaningful about it.
Yeah.
What it's like to be married to a worrier? Often, it's a bummer. Every time the money conversation comes up, they just center on their fears. And
I could see that being.
Which again, he's like, if you go down the there are seeds that are good about that, right? It's the
right.
Yeah, you should worry. You should.
You should think about things, question things.
Yeah. You shouldn't get stuck in it, but it's good to bring up those things in worst case scenario and be conservative. Yeah. I think that's good.
I think a good, I don't know if he says this, but a good measurement is are you still making forward progress on things, or are you just sitting in it? And festering and it's just so hard and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I think Jim Collins in his book, he calls it productive paranoia. And it's that combination of the two that you were just talking about, right? Yes, be paranoid, worry about it, but in a productive way.
Yeah.
To do something about it.
In order to move forward.
Yeah, I think that's good. He has advice for them. He goes, hey, what do you get out of worrying? Ask yourself that. Does it make you feel in control? Does it give you comfort? He also recommends just play out the worst case scenario. Just go for it.
Sure.
Don't just, instead of mulling on it, write it out, do it. Let's see what that looks like. And then you can then do the productive part and say, let's create a plan about it. You can think about how it affects your partner and some other stuff.
What was the first one again? Optimizer,
Worrier, and the avoider.
Oh, avoider. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The final one. The dreamer.
Oh. Okay, out of those four, I think I'm the worrier.
Dreamers use magical thinking when it comes to money. Something is always coming soon that will pan out and change their financial situation. You'll often see dreamers falling for get-rich-quick schemes, timeshares, crypto, multi-level marketing, and dubious passive income businesses.
My goodness.
Dreamers can be optimistic and motivating. If you just stick with me, this one's going to hit, and we're going to be able to pay off all that debt. But by avoiding reality, they're forcing someone else to carry their weight. They consistently reiterate that it will all work out, and they disdain people who follow traditional paths like a 9-to-5 job. They might use, quit laughing at me, they might use pejorative phrases to describe other people, even those who are more financially stable, by saying they're trading time for money.
Oh my goodness. You're an optimizer dreamer.
Yep, I totally am. Common behaviors. Carrying a balance on credit cards, borrowing from family and friends, secret spending, which I don't do, investing and get-rich-quick schemes. How about this one? Reading Robert Kiyosaki and Grant Cardone.
Yep.
Oh, man.
I mean,
favorite phrases? It's going to be fine. It always is. The universe will provide. I just know, what is it? I just know I can't work a 9-to-5. And I just need insert highly complicated set of actions, each contingent on another, that must all happen sequentially, which the person has never successfully completed, and then we'll be good. Then why don't you trust me? I'm not a full-on dreamer.
Okay, this wasn't finance related, but you left me a voicemail earlier that pretty much said, everything's going to be fine. I just need to track and optimize everything. And everything will be fine.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it boiled down to. So
I felt encouraged.
That is who you
message.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So
those things can be good.
I feel like that's a good combo, to be honest. It's like, man, I'm tracking everything. I'm seeing it, but I'm also optimistic about the future. I could probably use some more worrying and less, and a little more avoiding, just, balancing out my world.
It's okay because I don't think I have many pieces at all of the optimizer dreamer. I mean, I can track.
You're not a avoider. You're just disinterested. It's hard. It's hard. You're probably totally normal, and your problem is that you're next to me.
Yeah, that's true.
And so what's it? They tell guys to don't smile at your girl when you have shaving cream on your face because it makes your teeth look yellow. Even though in a normal situation they look white. I think that's
so funny.
I'm shaving cream.
Oh, and
so I'm super white. And so and you're which makes you in comparison. You go, oh, you're nothing. You're none of these.
None of these.
I think you're probably more balanced. in general. If anything, you're more the avoider type. You just don't worry about it. Now, you haven't really had a reason. Like, you're not avoiding.
If there are hard things, that's definitely my tendency, is to be like, nope, don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. You won't appreciate this, though.
You take care of that.
Exactly. He goes, my advice for dreamers, I have no advice because you're not reading this book.
Yeah, you're reading Kiyosaki and Cardone.
Oh, man.
Well, that's good. You're an optimizer dreamer, and so you are reading this book.
Exactly. So those were the 4 money types that he was talking about.
So interesting.
And it's not your normal ones like the saver spenders, that kind of thing. But yeah, just more like it's the psychology. How do you think about money? So I just thought that was interesting. And so if you're married to a dreamer, and my guess is if you're listening to this podcast, you're also probably in that dreamer category as well. It happens. And it's all good, right? It's just recognizing that it can be difficult for that other person to deal with if you're like constantly optimistic, always looking for the future. And maybe the answer is to simplify some, maybe. I don't know.
Or just find ways to communicate.
Yeah.
And
when your partner starts asking you questions, don't get annoyed. It's good.
Yeah.
They're engaging, right? Take that as a win. Sure. I think is how I would look at it. But yeah, anyways, I thought it was good. Overall, it's a good book, especially if you're married and and you don't. A lot of the stuff he read, I was like, all right, well, like obviously we talk about this stuff all the time, and so I felt like we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
Overall for it.
It reminds me of what's the guy's name? Dave
Ramsey.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey.
The best. Nacho Libre, by the way. Go ahead.
Dave Ramsey, I think, had like a marriage money couple thing.
Money and
something like that. And I remember like one of the things that he said in there was like, there are different ways that people view money, see money, talk about money, engage with it. So he's like, look at that, identify how you do that as a couple, and then play into your strengths, which reminds me very much of this. It's like, it's okay if you're a dreamer and you're out there and you're just pushing the limits, like play into that and like include your spouse and allow them, if they're that optimizer person or the worrier, to say, okay, like how can we balance each other out, and how can you do the pieces of our finances that make sense to you, and how can I do pieces that make sense to me? So like a very practical example is like, you love spreadsheets, you love tracking.
It's my favorite.
So you do all of that and you put it all together and you make it look nice. And then I like to ask questions. So you present it to me and I ask a ton of questions, and so we play this back and forth of like, oh, okay, yeah, I can figure that out. I can track that differently. And I'm like, okay, well, why did you do this? And why did you do that? And why is this way up high this month and super low this month? And you're like, okay, yeah, let's dive in. So it plays into our strengths.
Yeah, that's fair. There you go.
Yeah,
so hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully it kind of gives you some ideas of how you may look at money or how your spouse looks at money, and some ways that you can talk to them and start that conversation to help them out. Because if you invest with us, which if you are interested in that, you can check us out at furlough.com to learn more about investing with us. It's good to have both of you on the same page and kind of running in that same direction together. You may be the one listening to this, you might be like, yeah, I'm doing the stuff and I'm engaging, but I think it's important for both of you to be on the same page, at least for that bigger vision for where you're headed financially as a couple. So there you go. Awesome. Super fun. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.